What's up, Tin Horse Monty fans or people that just clicked on this video for some random reason? Had this really nice video done today out on the lake, and after I got it done, reviewed it, audio, no good, happened again. So we're down here in the basement in the fishing cave, I guess you could say. Today we're going to talk about the drop shot. We're going to talk about the rods, baits, hooks, and weights. Alright, let's start out talking about the setup that you need to fish a drop shot. My setup personally is a 6'10". This is a St. Croix Legends Extreme rod. It's way too good of a rod. You don't need anything like this. I just got a really good deal on it. But what you do need is a medium to medium light action rod with a soft tip. This is a 6'10", so you could probably do 6'10" to 7'4", something in that range. But you want a nice soft tip. You can see how the action of this rod, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's got a really soft tip, but it's got a strong backbone, and that's what you need. I've just got this paired up with a Shimano Sahara 2500. I've got 15-pound Power Pro braid tied to a 7-foot 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. The knot I use for the leader connection from braid to fluorocarbon, I kind of nicknamed it the J. Blattell loop knot. It's really an Alberto knot. I did a video on that a while back, so I'll put that on the end screens at the end of this video, and you can click onto that and watch it if you don't know that knot. It's a real simple knot. It works great. By the way, please subscribe to the channel. If you don't have a YouTube account set up, it's real easy to do. Go to YouTube. Just requires an email, and you do a password. Takes a couple minutes, you're set up, and any channel that you like, subscribe to their channel, support them. Let's get back to the video here. With the drop shot, you got several different weight options. They come in different sizes and different shapes. A lot of times I'm throwing about a 1/4 ounce weight. That seems to be the best all-around size of weight. The different shapes are, you've got the cannonball. It's a round drop shot weight. You've got the teardrop, which looks like that. And then you've got the cylindrical. And you've also, all three of those are in tungsten. And then you've also got, this is a lead weight, but it's like the Dipsy weight. And you can actually tie straight onto that. They all have advantages and disadvantages. If I'm fishing grass, I'm going to be throwing this cylindrical weight. It drags through the grass a lot better than the other models. Now, as an all-around weight, this teardrop is hard to beat. If you're fishing vertically, it really picks up great on the graph. It's just the shape of it's got a lot of surface area. The cylindrical does too, but I'm fishing this probably 90% of the time. I'm fishing this one right here. Fishing in heavy rocks or in open water, this does a pretty good job. Let's talk about some hook options. If you're fishing out in open water and you're nose hooking the bait, this is just an octopus style hook. It's a pretty good little hook here. So this is kind of a hybrid. This is called the Rebar Hook. It's got a lot longer shank. I use this. This is what I use most of the time. You can nose hook it, and you can also Texas rig your worm. I got a little finesse worm here. I'll show you what I mean by that. It's got this little barb on the outside of the hook. You can rig it up like that on a drop shot. Works perfect. The third option is this Weedless Neko hook. If I'm fishing around brush piles and a lot of heavy cover, I'm going to be going with this. It's got this fiber weed guard on there, and it does a really good job coming through cover. Let's talk about some different bait options. A lot of times in the summer, I'm fishing with some sort of a worm, a little finesse worm. Zoom makes several good ones. One of the best colors is a Morning Dawn color, and it's a pink translucent kind of color. It's got kind of that little purple stripe in there. This is a really good color. I know it looks crazy. It looks like something your kid would chew on, like a gummy worm, but this color right here is pretty good. This is the Swamp Crawler. It's a pretty good worm for a drop shot. And then, of course, just the Zoom Finesse worm, the green pumpkin, which is this color. It's a little 5-inch worm. This is a great worm. And if the bite's kind of slow, you can't get bit on that, you can drop down to these little Neko type worms. I'm sorry, you can drop down to these little Ned Head type worms. This is just a little 3-inch Ned Head bait. There's some more. These are made by Tack B, local guy. Look him up, Facebook. In the fall, late summer and the fall, the fish are really starting to chase the shad. So that's when I'll switch from the worms, and I'm going to be moving over to more of a shad-shaped worm. Some of my favorite baits that I like to throw is this Tamiya Armor Shad. This is a really good little bait. Really, really small bait. You know, the same profile as a lot of the young of the year shad. Look at that, looks awesome. This color right here is called Pro Purple, and then they also, one of the other colors I like is it's kind of a clear with black fleck in it. I'm not sure what it's called, but you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. Another good bait to throw is this Mega Bass. It's this Haze Dong. It's a little baby swim bait. I'll show you what that looks like. Little killer swim bait. I think it's a 3-inch bait. I mean, it's super flexible tail. It works with minimal action. It's great for catching those suspenders. And of course, you've got the Super Fluke Juniors. I actually like the tiny fluke. I didn't have any. I mean, I've got them. I just can't find them right now. But it's a traditional fluke, and it's really small. It's probably about 3 inches. That's a really good drop shot bait to nose hook. And for another swim bait option, you've got the Little Dipper, made by Reaction Innovations. So you can put just about anything on the drop shot and it'll work. So let's talk about the different ways to fish a drop shot. Probably the most traditional way is fishing below the boat, vertically. You scan, find some fish, you locate them on your front of your boat, on your front graph, and you drop down to them. And you can see your drop shot drop down through your transducer cone, and you stop it when you get right above the fish, and you can work them vertically like that. It's great for schooling fish, and that is going to be happening summer through winter. That's when that's going to play. The next way you can fish the drop shot is you can actually cast it out and wait for it to sink and work it back slow, kind of like a shaky head or a jig. And I usually just drag it a little bit, and I'll kind of shake it a little bit, and then I'll drag it a little bit, shake it and shake it. And you can kind of hop it a little bit too, but you want to leave it, usually you want to leave it in place for 3 to 5 seconds, just kind of shaking it and moving it towards the boat a little bit, and then kind of shaking it and moving it towards the boat. Little guy on the drop shot. He ate that worm. It's throwing a little 5-inch finesse worm. But you get the idea. You can fish that thing vertically. You can throw it out and swim it, or you can cast it to the bank and just kind of work it back slowly. It works all 3 ways. There we go. Drop shot fish. Just casting on that rebar hook. a little 5-inch finesse worm. There you go. Nice little fish. The third way to fish a drop shot is to actually cast to suspending fish. If you've located a school and they're busting on top, you can throw through them and reel it real fast. Or if they're done busting and they went down, you know where they're at, you can throw, like cast past them, engage your reel, and just let the bait, the drop shot, pendulum down through those fish and kind of real slow. And I call it swimming a drop shot. And it just swings right through those fish. It works really good. It's something that not a lot of people do, but it's a really good way to catch those fish that are highly pressured. You know, in the summer, towards the mid to late summer, they've been hammered pretty good. So you can throw that little drop shot. That's when I'm going to go with that little this little Hazdong shad that I showed you by Mega Bass, or the Little Dipper. Both of those work pretty good. And you're going to nose hook those. And when I say nose hook, all you're doing is taking this hook, whatever hook you decide to use, and you're just putting that hook right through the nose, like that. There you go. That's it. That's called nose hooking. Okay, so I caught that fish on a drop shot, and those fish were schooling and they went down, and I couldn't get them to bite anything. So when that happens, you can take a drop shot with a really small swim bait on it, throw it out, and just let it pendulum down through that school. And a lot of times you'll get some extra bites doing that. All right, let's tie this drop shot up. I'll show you how to rig this up. It's really simple. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to redo it with some white string so you can really tell. So you've got your hook. You always want the bend of your hook to be facing up. So you're just going to run your line through the eye of the hook, and you're going to be tying a Palomar knot. You're going to give yourself about 12 inches of tag line, and you're going to come back through the eye. You're going to pull your tag out this way. So now you've just got this loop. Okay? You want to make sure that your line's not doubled over itself when you're tying a Palomar knot. That's the main way that causes this knot to fail. People complain about a Palomar knot and fluorocarbon breaking off. Most of the time it's because they've crossed their line. They're not tying the knot properly. So when you get to this point right here, I'm going to take my two fingers, I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to pinch it right here, slide my fingers out, coming from the back side, and just tie. It's basically an overhand knot. You're left with this. I'm going to moisten it. I'm going to take my hook, go right through that loop. And when I get to this point, I'm going to grab my tag. I'm just going to pull it down. It's that simple. So here's what you're looking at. Now this next step is very, very important with the drop shot. You want to take this tag in and you want to run it back through the eye of the hook. Run it back through there, pull it all the way down, and watch this. You want that knot to actually go through the eye. So you just pull real hard and it pops through. Did you hear that? That's the knot popping through. What this does is this causes that hook to stand up horizontal. If you don't do that, the hook's going to sag on the line. It's very important. So that's the main part of the drop shot rig. The final step is just to tie on the weight, and let's just use this round weight. Some drop shots have this little clip, this little cinch thing, and what it does is it's wide on the bottom, and as you go up towards the top of it, it narrows, and you basically just pull it in and it clamps. So you're going to go through that section. Get right here, double your line, just kind of pull it. Don't pull too hard, it'll break. Pull it and it's going to go up in that little groove. Now, I will still do two two overhand knots, because what will happen is when you catch a fish, he will jump, and your little $1.50, $2 tungsten weight will go flying off the line, across the water, and to the bottom of the lake in 20 feet of water, and you're out some money. This is about the best thing I could come up with to show you how to tie up this drop shot. You're going to be tying a Palomar knot. So to tie a Palomar knot, you want to come in with the bend of the hook towards your rod. You go through the eye once, and then you go right back through it. So it's looking like this. And you're going to pull off about 12 inches of tag line right there. Then you're just going to make an overhand knot. And what I usually do is I just go around these two fingers like this, pinch it, bring that loop through the other loop, and then there's your overhand knot. I'm going to tie it tight to the eye. Now, you take your two fingers and spread this loop out and bring the hook through the middle of that. Now you want to wet it. Take your tag, which is this section right here, and just pull it taut. That's called a Palomar knot, and that's the first step to the drop shot. The next step, which is very important, is you want to take this tag and you want to run it right through the eye of the hook, like that. And pull it down. When you get to right here, you want to pull that knot through the eye of the hook. You'll see it go through. See how it popped through? Now what that does, that makes your hook stand out horizontally on the line. See? You get that cam action. That's very beneficial when you're fishing that drop shot. It makes it bounce. Okay, let's put an armor shad on there. See what that thing looks like. Just nose hook that armor shad. And when you pull up on that line, it makes it stand out in the water column. And it's going to really float horizontal because, you know, it's going to be neutral in the water column. It'll sit like this. That's your drop shot. Take this rig out. You can fish it all year long. It works good any season, any water condition. Of course, it's a little bit slower in the wintertime, but it does work. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I've missed anything. What's some of your favorite baits that you use? What kind of conditions do you favor the drop shot in? It's a great all-around rig. It's great for beginners. It catches a lot of fish, and it's fun. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, share it on Facebook, and until next time.